I don't know what it is about bands with a cult following, but I have always had a fascination with bands that have a cult following. And I don't know if it's the music, I don't know if it's the characters that make up the band that make the music, or if it's the community that follows the band, like the cult, if you will, the people that often put their entire lives on hold to follow a band around night after night throughout the entire country, to listen to them play a certain set of songs and then wake up the next day, go on the road and do it again. I don't know what it is about a band that is so fascinating to me, or what is so fascinating to the people that follow them, but I frequently find myself being a fan of the music of bands with cult followings. Think about the Grateful Dead. You have the Dead and you have the Deadheads. And very often when considering the Dead, you can't consider the Dead without considering the Deadheads. They are one and the same, but why? And what was it that made people decide to put their entire lives on hold and follow the Grateful Dead? There are a couple of bands like that. And back in November, I decided I was in a place where I needed to do something different with my life. I'd made it a goal that I was going to take making YouTube videos more seriously and not just do it as a hobby when I felt like it. I was going to make a schedule, and I was going to just start listening to music. Tuesday nights on the schedule, I was going to listen to 2 different albums. Each Tuesday, it's just what I was going to do. And the very first Tuesday I set out to do this, I listened to this band called Phish. And the thing about Phish is that they are a band that made me experience a tremendous amount of emotions in the very first album. I think the makings of a good band or a good artist can often be broken down to the simple context of, did it make you feel feelings? Did you laugh? Did you cry? Did you smile? Did you feel related to? And upon my first listen to Phish, which was a completely random experience, I experienced all of those emotions. And it made me wonder, because I knew Phish was one such band with a cult following, what it was about this band. And I set out to find out what it was about Phish that made them so hard to resist for so many people. What is it that made people put their lives aside? And a lot of this I discovered as I went through the journey. But I started asking myself, really, the question, what is the thing about Phish? I don't get it. So I decided to seek out that answer. I didn't know quite what I was going to come upon, but I can definitely tell you that the journey changed my life entirely, and I think I have a better understanding of what it is. But the thing about Phish for me, truly, started with Drew Carey.
So I saw Phish at the Sphere this weekend. Never saw a Phish, didn't know a Phish tune, and they blew my minds off so hard. I thought to myself, I had a bunch of girls with me, and I thought to myself, is this what it's like to People that were there can verify 100% true. This is what it's like. It was like being edged for 4 days straight. And then right before the face-melting climax at the end on the 4th day, an angel comes down from heaven, Gabriel, and he shoots heroin in your arm, and he says, good luck now, and he leaves. And then you have an orgasm for 15 minutes while your eyeballs fall out of your head. Next time they play the Sphere, you better not miss it.
With that said, I felt like it was imperative that I reacted to a Phish album. When I Googled what Phish fans say the best Phish album is, Rift popped up seemingly in the top 3 in almost every list I looked at, frequently at number 1. So that's how I came to this decision. Drew Carey and Google. Now I'm going to be absolutely honest with you. I had no idea what it was that gets a guy to say that about a band, but it really supported my idea that Phish was a band with a cult following, and maybe they were worth giving a listen to. I certainly didn't expect the journey to unfold in the way it did, and I definitely didn't expect to have had the array of emotions I did when I hit the play button on the Rift album. Immediately, yes. Oh, man. It was in the third song on the album that I knew I was going to listen to as much Phish as I could dig into. I had no idea at that point what I was in for. I didn't know I was looking at 16 studio albums. I didn't know that there was over 30 live albums plus a ridiculous amount of bootlegged material to go through. Excuse me. I just knew I wanted to listen to them because I heard something that I related to. And at that time in my life, I needed to hear something that I related to.
I sleep lengthwise, and when you're gone, I sleep diagonal in my bed.
Oh my gosh. Oh man. You ever get just hit between the eyes? And to go from a moment like that to a moment where I am just so excited and celebratory about what I'm hearing, and both of those things have existed in the same album, I was hooked. I was absolutely fascinated. It's like watching a train wreck where you know everybody is safe and nobody dies, and businesses get paid the insurance money, and somehow everybody wins. It's so cool. Guys, this was Rift. This was Rift. This got S tier for sure. This has been such a gift to my life. I finished the Rift album and I was floored. I knew I wanted to listen to more Phish. I didn't necessarily know how to go about doing it, but as I typically do with the videos I make, if I want to go further, I just ask people to give me advice on where to go. If I want to continue on in a catalog. Again, I didn't know I was in for 16 studio albums, 30 plus live albums, and a massive bootleg scene. And I certainly could not have anticipated that this particular video was going to come with the fans. The equivalent of the Deadhead. The Phish fan, spelled with a PH. Fan. I didn't know that these folks were just going to pop up and in. I didn't realize that they were going to come and spill ridiculous amounts of positivity into my life by saying, dude, you said something I related to. Dude, you commented on this bit of music that I've listened to for over 30 years of my life and pointed out a noise I had never heard. I didn't realize that people were going to say, wow, that was like reliving the experience of hearing my favorite band for the first time. None of these things are things I had anticipated, and it came in a way bigger wave than I had anticipated, and it occurred to me, I have now met the cult fan. But it was not nearly as dirty or chaotic or vile as media portrayals were. And it was something I was like, well, this is a journey I'm on, and I guess all of these people are here with me. I then went on a couple months long journey of just listening to album after album and sparsing in some live performances in there, because everybody made it abundantly clear to me that Drew Carey was talking about live Phish. He was not talking about album Phish. What Drew Carey had seen and what I had heard were totally different things, yet massively important still. You know what's awesome about these guys? It's that they give up form and function so that they can approach the music with motion and mindfulness, right? Like, we just went through this really long thing where it was so in time with all of these tapping moments and all of these different things that were busy. And then you had the bombastics of the drums and the pianos, like intermittently kind of woven in through that whole intro part, which was incredibly dynamic. Like, not just day one or two stuff, like not just year one or two stuff if you're a guitar player or a bass player, but then to stop on a dime and be able to transition, doing something that convention says music shouldn't do. Like, you shouldn't break time, you shouldn't break tempo, you shouldn't alter pace. These things are so counterintuitive, and I think what makes Phish amazing is that they kind of throw birds at the rules behind conventional music, which means that they're gutted at their conventional chances of playing in the radio. But if you find a mass of people that can understand what it is that's happening and recognize the genius into what it is that's being done, and recognize it's not just people that can't play, it's people that can play really well that are creating a feeling. It's unbelievable. It's actually fascinating to me. like that gal that walked out though was part of the band. Okay, yeah, the Mango song was where. Well, I didn't mean to like chalk dust yet. It hasn't earned it to me yet. Favorite song on the album already. I'm saying it. No wonder it got liked before I even heard it. I'm getting a little choked up at this guitar sound. This is soaring, dude. And the got into an accident? I've spent so much of my life trying to feel good. And in a weird way. I'm sorry, I'm not. In a weird way. Feeling validated that you can feel good. Is meaningful. You know? And I said this similarly about Glide, but it's very much to me kind of the same thing. You can feel good, and that's okay. I've always been a person that made myself the victim of my own problems and found ways to feel bad even when life was going really well. And it's always been a battle of mine that I've fought. But just this idea that you can feel good and it's okay, you know. It's, wow. The moment dance feels like they say the moment ends. I can totally, but I don't know if Spotify is punking me. I got to close my eyes and not look at the words "the moment ends."
Stay tuned for all traffic and weather information.
That guy was so well endowed. Dude's horn makes most people's look like small potatoes. Man of La Mancha.
From the mountain.
No! I'm so thankful in my life now to be able to look back and recognize how far it is I've come. You know, I feel like I truly have a lot I have to be proud of for myself now. But I think that just because I'm in a better place doesn't mean I don't remember being that guy. You know, I could remember being him, you know? And I can remember having those feelings. And so I hear it so eloquently spoken and with music that speaks into it, and really provides this understanding atmosphere for the song. Wow, man. This one's good. I don't know if this is a Tom song. I don't know if this is a Trey song, but this one hits. I've seen better outfits in my day, I'm not gonna lie. Regardless of what your background is, my prayer is that God grants you the serenity to accept the things that you cannot change, the courage to change the things you can, and the wisdom to know the difference. That's all I'm gonna say about this one. So what is it that makes any band or artist good? Is it the virtuosic nature of the instrumentalists and how well they play their instruments? Is it the lyricism and the wording and how much it relates to a person or comments on a situation? Is it the combination of these things? Is it the way the music makes you feel? Is it their ability to play in a live context? Is it what they've cataloged on an album context through a studio? All of these are fair questions and considerations. And I found myself asking myself all of these questions as I was on this Phish journey. And all the while I'm on this journey, listening to Phish, great changes are happening in my life. And I've stuck to my YouTube schedule. I've continuously uploaded and explored music beyond just Phish. And I started finding success there. I ended up into a really wonderful home and it's a completely different place than I was. I fall in love. I meet a person. And all of these things are happening as I'm going through this journey. And so perhaps I'm coming at you with a bias, but I cannot in my brain separate the sound of Phish from the good changes that have happened in my life. One is the soundtrack to the other. And when I have the memories of goodness or positive changes in my life, I hear Phish. The memory of good things happening in my life is the sound of Phish. And I know that that's crazy. And as I'm going through the journey, people keep saying, Walter, you need to go and see these guys live. You need to go and see these guys live. That is where the experience is. That is where you are going to find out that you belong, because you have found understanding, acceptance, laughter, friendship through the music, but you haven't found that with the community yet. And I kept hearing this thing. And again, the cult fan spoke, so to speak. They kept telling me, go and see this band live. And it is not like I didn't want to go and see these guys play. I had just spent a ton of my time investing myself into what it is that these guys do, listening to their albums and feeling related to, being blown away by the music that I'm hearing them play, watching their videos and seeing them do things that are fun and unique and different than any other band I've ever seen do stuff. And hearing all of these stories from this fanhood of people talking about their wonderful life-changing experiences within this band and community. And there was a little bit of nervousness to meeting the fans. I had never heard of such a fervence within a fanhood. But also, when I watched Phish's documentary, Bittersweet Motel, their own documenting of the fanhood left a very unfavorable taste in my mouth. And I couldn't help but think, this does not seem like the community of people that are commenting on the videos. This seems way different. And I mean, this is what I'm talking about.
Swag is commercially produced herb, dude. It's produced in mass amounts, usually fucking just bullshit bud with a lot of seeds and stems.
And it doesn't have a high THC content as kind bud do. Kind bud have more high THC, and tetrahydrocannabinol THC is what you get high off.
Kind bud gets you wasted if that's what you're looking for.
You got a key, Justin?
Right here, man, the B-dubs.
And do some
We
shotguns.
ripped up here in my rabbit from Massachusetts.
Ready?
This is shotgunning.
I'm not much of one to be coming to a Phish show, you know, and being like, oh, I'm gonna go score a chick tonight, you know, whatever.
Shit happens,
Yeah,
but like,
if you get a hook up with some cool chicks that like to hang out, drink beers, smoke dope, you know, and party, if something goes down, goes down. But I don't come here.
you don't go
to
hunting
hook up.
for it. You're not the predator.
You know?
You get the girls that roll up in their Cherokees.
Yeah.
You get the girls that roll up in their fucking VW fucking rabbits. The girls that are rolling up in their Cherokees, their pits are shaved, obviously, you know. At the same time, you get the girls that are rolling up in the V-dubs, but they're just, you know, it's how they were brought up, and you know, I mean, it's not their
What they're all
option.
about.
It's not their choice, so like they're both dealing with it, and they're coming here, and they're
To
both on
party.
the same level. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Everyone here is chucks.
Everyone's here
is
to
doing
party
the
and
same
have fun
shit.
and go see Phish, you know, and have the best time of their life.
So I took the money that I had earned from listening to Phish on YouTube, and I bought 2 3-day passes to see Phish in Hollywood from April 25th to April 27th. My love, my now fiance, the beautiful Melissa, Mel, and I met in LA and went to my first, second, and third shows, and we went to her 31st, 32nd, and 33rd shows. I bring up the count of the shows that she has been to comment on this later, because this is a point that I want to comment on. But keep in mind, as we go through this, that Phish fans count their shows and collect them like trading cards. We'll put it that way for now. So, we are in Hollywood, literally on the stars. I just stepped all over Barbara Streisand.
Hi.
Okay, so what song are you most excited for?
Joy. Water in the Sky.
Water in the Sky.
Maze.
I want Maze bad.
Chalk Dust, Ocelot.
Are you just naming songs I want to hear?
Yeah, and
Oh.
my dad.
Oh, do me and your dad have the same set list?
My dad said, send me clips if they play Sample, Chalk Dust, Ocelot, or anything from Joy, I think he said.
Okay.
Joy's the one album he knows.
I don't necessarily, I'm not like allowing myself to want a song. What's up, guys? Yeah, not
Wait,
allowing myself
I
to want a
called
song.
an Everything's Right or Chalk Dust opener is what I said.
Everything's Right or Chalk Dust opener?
I think this is a long shot, but I'm gonna pray for a Harry Hood.
We will see. We will see. All right, let's head to Shakedown.
Yay!
Shakedown is something that I think is an integral part of the Phish experience. To describe it, I would say Shakedown is equivalent to tailgating at a sporting event for a music venue. It's like you've got this carnival-like bazaar of vendor after vendor after vendor selling different kinds of products, like things you might see in like music jokes, like Morning Dew, a Grateful Dead song done in a Mountain Dew logo. Shout out to Melissa for buying that for me, by the way. Or Iculus Burger, an In-N-Out logo with a Phish song on it. Shout out to the random guy that gave that to me as I was walking around. But you have this big, excited market of people that are just juiced, knowing that they're about to go and see the band that they all love. And you also have this very interesting thing where, while I couldn't necessarily show everything that was for sale on Shakedown Street, you had a very interesting observance of a lot of people that were sober and just kind of walking around, and a lot of people that were either psyched or drunk and walking around. There were ice cold fatties everywhere, which, by the way, is what one calls a balloon on Shakedown Street. Neither here nor there. There are all of these different people in all of these different walks of life, and they're all getting ready and excited in different ways in this one part of the community. And it's kind of like everybody kind of ends up with everybody else. And as I walked through, I saw people meeting each other again for the first time in a long time, as if to meet an old friend, because they had both come from totally different parts of the country and ended up there and were just show buddies from way back. And I watched so many of those interactions, and you realize that these people have these deep, meaningful experiences with one another at these concerts or at these shows. Different people get weird about what you call them, but you have these people that have these bonds that are really rooted in the music and the experience of the music, coming together for the first time in a long time, or just getting ready to celebrate what might be another amazing time. It's such an interesting experience, and if you've never gone, you need to. It was something I participated in all 3 days, just taking a part of the people, taking a part of the excitement, seeing the things that they had for sale, and as a sober person, doing what I could to avoid a pretty decent bit of temptation, if I'm being honest. I'll speak more on that later. So I initially wondered how we were gonna get there, and then I just found this massive crowd of people. And now I have an idea of how to get there. All right, I think I have found Shakedown. I've never been in a place where balloons cost so much money. What the hell? The cops don't want the red tank near the road. Shakedown has been pretty nuts. I'm not gonna lie, Shakedown has been pretty nuts. My experience in Shakedown Street was actually phenomenal, but as I was reviewing my footage, it occurred to me that I can't use a lot of it because of the veritable marketplace that it is. With that said, it's important to me to note that if you are a sober person that goes to a concert or a show like this, be grounded, have a support with you, because if you're not a person that is tempted to do those things, it's just going to be something that you idly walk by and recognize and think, wow, you don't see that anywhere else. If you're a person that does struggle with that, you might see some temptation to just go up and ask. The fanhood presented itself to me in kind of a contradictory way, in that accepted the contradiction, but there were people of sober lifestyles and non-sober lifestyles coexisting, cohabitating, and doing their own thing, knowing that the other side existed, and everybody kind of going their own way. And I guess it's important to me to note that, because while there is a party element to the fanhood, there is equally so, and just as in your face, a wholesome element within the fanhood. And there is a community for both, and really every kind of person. And I guess it's important that I mention that, because as a person who has sobriety no-fly zones, I recognize that this venue could be one for some. Not everybody deals with temptation in the same way that others do, and to some people, walking through Shakedown would not be tempting at all. So just keep that in mind as I go through this. As we made it through Shakedown, we go through the gates, and I meet this wonderful couple named Brian and Audrey. Now, Brian and Audrey ended up coming back up to me a little bit later in the weekend, and I'll comment on that. But they were the first people I asked if I could interview, which means they were the first people I ever actually interviewed, which means it's a terrible interview of really kind and wonderful people with a really awkward guy. With that said, they really did a much better job of giving me an impression of what a Phish fan was than what Bittersweet did. And they would be the first of many people that I would talk with, but I think they did a great job at kind of articulating a much better impression of Phish than the three gentlemen from earlier.
Yeah.
I'm really new at doing stuff like this. Normally I'm all by myself, so thank you guys for indulging me. Do you have a favorite Phish story, either of you?
We went to Mondegreen last year, and it was just like the time of a life. We had a group of 14 people. It was so fun. The shows were amazing, and we drove an RV from Chicago to Delaware to go to all the shows. And it was just, like I said, life-changing fun, so awesome.
14 people?
Yeah, a big group of us. Yeah.
All in the same...
Not in the RV.
Not staying together, but like watching all the shows together.
Okay.
Yeah.
That is not so. And how many days is Mondegreen? Four shows.
Yeah.
Did you get the secret set too?
Yeah.
So that was like the highlight for me. I loved it. I mean, it was incredible.
It's on my list, so that's why I was wondering. Do you have a favorite song that's spoken to you throughout the years?
I think the song, I'm kind of a relatively new Phish fan. I got into them about 2 years ago.
21 shows in 2 years?
I'm trying to catch up, better late than never.
We talk about this really quick. So I was a Phish fan first. He didn't like Phish. Sorry, I don't want to say that too loud. But I was going to shows on my own for a really long time, and I took him to a show in Wilmington in 2023, and North Carolina, and it finally clicked for him, and he's like.
And it was the song "Chalk Dust Torture."
Yeah.
During Chalk Dust. We were pretty close on Tulsa. I can see from everywhere, and they're in Chalk Dust Torture, and I was like, this is amazing. This is just an incredible musical experience, visual, so much fun.
30,000 people going, "Can I live from you?"
That is really cool. Guys, thank you so much for hanging out with me for a few moments. It's been awesome to meet both of you guys. Do you have any closing words?
You just enjoy the show. It's really hard not to do that. I mean, you're going to have a great time.
What about you?
Open your mind, try it a few times. Some people go to their first show and they're like, what is this? But I promise, if you keep it up, if you just keep going, it'll stick.
Just have fun.
Sorry, have fun. Also, we appreciate you. You brought so much happiness into our life.
You're doing
And
a great
it's
job.
awesome to re-listen to all those albums and stuff like that, so keep it up.
What is your favorite album?
My favorite album is Billy Breathes.
Okay, what about yours?
It's Rift.
Rift is a good option. I think I have a sentimental bias though. So you guys, are you going to all 3 days?
Yes.
Okay. Okay. You flying back Monday, I'm guessing? Yeah. Very cool. We're in the water bottle line because it's very important to stay hydrated and take care of your shoes. I would just like to make it known that I was not the doer of this. And while I don't support vandalism, I am honored. So we make it through Shakedown. I talk to Brian and Audrey. I look around. I'm seeing this crowd of people just get bigger and bigger. And I'm seeing these interactions happen with everybody, just like old friends running into one another, people talking about which show they're on, people celebrating other people because they realize it's their first show. And as I'm kind of taking it all in, another couple, really wonderful people, Elizabeth and Jason, come up to us. I'm with Elizabeth, who just came up on me at my seats with a hat of like a trucker hat, which obviously is for me. Little donut fish here.
Okay.
It's my first PH show with donuts, and Miss Elizabeth.
And a Croc gibbet. So now you gotta buy Crocs.
I do. I have to get a pair of Crocs now. I gotta ask, what number show is this for you?
This is 56.
56?
Yeah.
How about?
So my dad is actually up there. He took me to my first show when I was 13, and he's done this whole spring tour with me. So we're on number 6 of 8 the spring tour.
So you're going on all 8?
Oh yeah.
That's awesome.
I turned 40 last week. This is my 40th birthday.
Congratulations! Happy birthday! Turn it around. Show Jason.
He doesn't want to be on it.
Oh, never mind. Jason doesn't want to be on it. I'm going to respect that. He's literally running up the aisles. Okay, I'm kidding. He's coming back.
Anyways,
This is Jason.
we love your Harry Hood video. Then I started watching you from the beginning when you first started watching, and I'm like, this guy has such a musical ear, and you really have to love music to love Phish. And I really appreciate that about you.
Hey, thank you so much for being so kind. I have to ask you, what songs are you expecting, since you've been on 6 of 8, what songs are you expecting tonight?
The 2 I would really love are Life Saving Gun and Most Events Aren't Planned. But I really hope for your sake you get a Harry Hood, even though we already got one.
I really want one too. So my next question would be, what is your favorite studio album?
Ooh, probably Billy Breathes.
Okay.
That was that time in my life that it just like hit me hard.
Gotcha.
But
so, what is your moment where you got it?
Ooh, my moment I got it. I got it really young, like when I was 10.
Okay.
My dad started playing Slave. And then I had another moment with Slave at Mondegreen last summer, and I just got emotional, and I thought, this is the most beautiful thing I've ever heard. You get it in lots of points in your life.
So it seems like you've actually grown up like within the Phish community if you've been doing this since you've been like 10, right?
Yeah. First show 13, and then I'd say I did like 1 to 2 shows every year. And starting 2022 is like, let's just go hard. Let's do like 10 shows a year.
I did a lot.
That's actually.
We have 3 little kids, so it's not easy. We have a 4, 6, and 8-year-old.
Are you bringing the Niños with you?
We might take them to Boulder.
Have they each worn their first pin?
They will. They haven't been to a show yet. They will.
You've got 3 kids?
Sometimes to wait till like 10.
They never come. We're from Salt Lake. They never come to Salt Lake.
Okay.
They haven't been to Salt Lake since 2003.
So when you follow a band, how do you do it? Do you literally just drive from city to city? Do you fly from city to city? How do you go about it?
Both. Last year, let's see, we drove to Vegas for Sphere. We drove to Dick's, flew to Mondegreen, flew to MSG. This tour, flew to Seattle, and we've just made our way down the coast. Just me and my dad. He just got here today.
Hey.
Facilitate her good times.
Yeah.
Okay, well, you know, you got to be careful. Daughter and dad going crazy following Phish. That's what might happen.
The last few years I've seen a whole new side of my dad. It's been great.
What is the craziest Phish story you have?
Oh.
Last year, TMZ, Hollywood tour.
Okay. This is... Last year, we got on the TMZ tour bus here in Hollywood, and it was only the 4 of us, our group on the bus, and the lady's like, who do you want to see? And we're like, Trey Anastasio. She's like, I don't know who that is. Long story short, 2 hours into the ride, our bus pulls up to Trey's bus, and we freaking yell so hard. He pulls down the window, he pops his head out. I fangirled him so hard, like telling him I love him, he's changed my life. And then he couldn't even get a word in. And then as he's pulling away, I was like, 2001 and melt our fucking faces. And he literally just laughs and goes like this. And then they played it last night, that night. And it was the best night of the tour.
That is so cool. Thank you.
My best story.
Elizabeth, that was an awesome story. Thank you so much for coming by. Can I give you a hug? Thank you.
This was great. Nice to meet you too.
Hey, it's been great to meet you guys. Have the best time.
The show starts, and I am excited. I didn't know the first song they played, but they followed it up with the second song being one that felt so genuinely specific and personal to me.
They're playing Lift!
And not only that, but my boy Brian got his chalk dust, which, as you know, I've shed tears to.
It's
And yes, all of us that wanted a hairy hood got a hairy hood, and that was really cool. Needless to say, it was a highlight of my night and life.
She said yes! She said yes!
So yeah, it was a pretty cool night. That said, the entire first night blew me away. And when I sat down at the end of the show watching everybody leave, I had some immediate thoughts.
We are at the Hollywood Bowl. We just finished the encore, or Phish just finished their encore, and we are now watching all of these people leave. There wasn't a song I disliked. Every single song I was so blown away by.
I was just going backwards down the number line. Maybe they'll play that tomorrow.
I think that as far as my thoughts on it go, like my first concert, show, whatever you want to call it, you once said that listening to like a Phish live concert was like hearing a whole bunch of jams just over and over and like thinking that they're all the best, and that really was the case. Like every single song I heard was the best version of that song I had ever heard. I got so many songs on my list. I learned new songs. I really did have the best evening, and so many wonderful people came up and said hello, and you know, to feel like what you do is not frivolous is such a gift, and to be told it in as many words is something I can't really put correct words for the gratitude for. Everybody was dancing, and it was a lot of fun. I really think that like I get a lot clearer what surrender to the flow means. I mean, honestly, I think I get a lot clearer like why there is this allegiance to them. And seeing the community, seeing the movement, seeing all of the stuff that was happening, there was so many good feelings. I bumped into people and I was like, oh, I'm sorry. And they were like, hey, don't be. Like everybody was so kind. It really was like, I don't know, I'm gonna say the psychedelic experience, like it really is kind of like that. Like there were people that were friendly and loving feelings and like soaring music and colors everywhere and like people giving hugs and high fives and laughing together about kind of nonsensical stuff. Like it was just awesome. I'm 100% positive as I sit here that they have no idea who I am. But it felt like they did. And that, I think, was really cool. Yeah. I'm so positive that they don't know who I am, but I'm also positive that I felt like listening to the music today that like that was the case. Huh? Yeah.
Night one was perhaps one of the most amazing nights of my whole entire life, and honestly, for many, many reasons. It occurred to me as I was there that there is this deep element of community there. Anytime a song came on that people knew I wanted to hear, they got so excited for me, as if it was the song that they'd wanted to hear. And I shared in that same excitement. When I heard other people saying, oh, I really hope I get this song, and I'd run into them later, I was just as excited. Like, dude, you got your chalk dust. And they were like, no, you got your hairy hood. You got riffed, whatever the case was. But that first night felt so specific to me. And as I sit here, I'm still sure that Phish have no idea who I am. But I am also sure that it still feels like that night was for me. And for Melissa to have commented that every fan feels that way, that every fan feels like that show was kind of specific to them, is a very special part of the community. And when you see the camaraderie and the excitement after the show of people being like, you got your song, there's nothing quite like it. And not another band that I can necessarily say I have experienced even a remote connection to the same thing. Day two, I was in for another amazing day. And it started a little bit earlier that day.
Getting ready to walk in to talk to Sirius XM.
Right here.
Hi, Mom. So I just did an interview with Miss Elisa here from Sirius, Channel 29.
Hey, just so you know, you did a really good job on this one, Mom. I know how hard it is. I have a 20-year-old of my own. Good job.
Thanks. That was nice of you. After meeting with Ms. Elisa, it was time to get our butts back to the bowl.
Okay, so it is day 2. We are engaged now and getting ready to be going to night 2 of the Hollywood Bowl for Phish's run of it. And I had a pretty big experience for my first show, I'm not gonna lie. Engagement aside, I think seeing everything put together really just has me excited in a way I can't describe. The colors, the lights, again, just the dynamics of the guys in person, seeing the crowd interact, being a part of the crowd, it was special. Hollywood has thus far been an incredible experience, and I have no other pressures on me now that I've gotten this thing out of the way. So, surrendering to the flow until then. Let's go have a good show, huh?
By night 2, I had kind of made the decision that I wanted to do less with my camera. I wanted to take a part of the experience. I wanted to be there. I wanted to not have this thing on my mind of filming because I was so excited to be a part of it all. I was so captivated with it that by the time I'd gotten there, yeah, I had an idea of this project that I'd wanted to make, but I was more interested in the music and the community and being a part of it all and celebrating that we were there in that time and that time was ours.
So, night 2 is over and done. We are watching the mass exodus right now. I think one thing about set 2, like night 2, that really stood out to me was that there was an element where I got to see the crowd participate with the audience, or participate with Phish in a way that I didn't necessarily connect before. For example, seeing them just completely drop into silent reverence whenever Squirming Coil was playing. Something like as they were all walking off. You could hear a pin drop in those moments, or people shushing people who weren't pin drop quiet. And then the lighting, hearing everybody howling. I think that song really stood out to me. Howling, I got so juiced about. Getting to be a participant in that moment and howl was just so nice. The jams were so nice. The lights were so nice. And again, seeing how much it all syncopates. When AC/DC Bag played, we were walking back from the fellowship table.
A real quick comment on the Fellowship. The Fellowship is a group that meets at set breaks at Phish concerts, and they are known for these little yellow stickers that say one show at a time. If you are like me and you live a sober lifestyle and may find that a concert venue could be a little bit tempting for the lifestyle that you want to live, like maybe that is a no-fly zone for you, there is support at every show for people that do live sober lifestyles. And if, like me, that is something that is very important to you, you can feel confident that when you go there, there are people that get it. And you can identify them by these yellow stickers. And no matter where I was in the venue, when I had this yellow sticker on, people did acknowledge it as like a kudos or good for you, man, kind of thing. And it felt like support was there even from the people that were not wearing the yellow stickers. So for whatever that's worth to you, it was worth a significant amount to me.
And we stopped in the very middle of the promenade and just looked dead center at everything happening. And it's right at the peak of that song, it just rips. And we're stood just dead center of everything. And I'm looking around and I'm seeing all of these people dancing in time to just this wailing solo. I mean, it really might have been, it was a highlight moment of the whole trip for me, was just stopping there in the middle. Just getting to meet people and talk to people and just be a face that I don't have to pause. I can just sit there and be completely overwhelmed in the best way. It's an experience that I don't think you could necessarily give to anybody without having them come here. I totally understand the vibe behind I gotta get somebody to a Phish concert. Can't wait for night 3. I guess it's gonna be the closer of the spring tour, right? So closer of the spring tour, I'm certain it's gonna rip tomorrow harder than it has the last 2 days. I'm excited. This was a no pressure, all fun, good times night. I learned new songs. I heard songs I wanted to hear. I danced the night away. Great times.
It felt like I blinked and 66% of my time in Hollywood was gone. But I was very, very, very excited. And as I geared up for day 3, I had some thoughts about the previous 2 days.
I have now made it through 2 full days of live Phish with a third to go. I am 66% done with my weekend extravaganza and my first Phish run. I've got to say, it has exceeded my expectations in every possible way I could have imagined. And I don't say that like to placate to people wanting me to say one thing or another. Like, I'm actually saying that taking in the entire experience was just significantly more than I'd anticipated. I think in a spirit of like surrendering to the flow, I got there with expectations that I didn't necessarily recognize I had until I was there, and those kind of fell off once I got there. I was really excited to say hello to people. I was genuinely overwhelmed with how many people came up and said hello to me. I did not expect it to be as many as it was. And it was certainly humbling in its own way, having people tell me how they related to the, this video journal thing I do, where I talk about my feelings listening to music. And to see how it seemed to have resounded with people was an overwhelmingly humbling thing to have shared with me. But then going into the actual experience of the music, it's funny, as I say that, I'm kind of sitting here thinking to myself, you can't separate one from the other. You cannot separate the community of the fanhood from the music and the experience of being there. So I will say that it all kind of bleeds together into this really big mess of beauty. I guess when I came here, my plan was to like try to document a better side of the fanhood than what I saw done in Bittersweet Motel. But I think that people did that enough for me in a way that no amount of me asking people questions is gonna do. I recognized as I was there that I was accepted for just being there. And I recognized that as I was there, having a YouTube channel didn't matter, having, whatever kind of experience didn't matter. What mattered was like the people, the connectivity, the music, the experience of being there and being with people. And there's no amount of preparedness I could have had to walk in on that. It really was just a beautiful thing. And even people that didn't know who I was were so kind and accepting and just excited that I was there for my first show and asking what songs I wanted to hear. And it was nice getting to just be a part of it all. I've never been a part of a community like the one I've been in the last couple of days. And the shared excitement, the shared love, the seeing somebody's face when their song comes on. It makes you just as excited for that song, especially when I hadn't heard some of them. When Howling came on, for example. The Howling! Seeing the entire crowd get excited and then seeing why, when you just hear the crowd participation and you realize what people mean when they say the band is the fifth member of the band is the crowd. I've relived the moment of the coil closer so many times since it happened, and just seeing everybody kind of walk away, hearing the thunderous applause after they do, and then it just whittles down to Paige. And again, the reverence in that place when you see tens of thousands of people just pin drop quiet and experiencing this moment together. And then again, when it just kind of fades off into this beauty of piano keys and ends, the thunderous applause and excitement was so cool to be a part of. ultimately, though, I think the biggest lesson I've kind of taken from this weekend is really that surrender to the flow thing, you know, like meet people, smile, converse, share stories, talks, like, but be a part of it, you know, like, I liked that when I was there, I didn't necessarily feel like I was Walterooski, the creator. I liked being Walter, the fan, and getting to meet other fans. And, you know, I know that the forum in the format in which I do my videos is such as it is, that I have to be able to maintain the channel, you know, pause, talk, and play. But there's a tremendous liberation to getting to experience this thing that I've been giving commentary on and waxing poetic about, to get to experience it as it's intended to be experienced. Of course, I go back and listen to these things later, but the experience isn't the same. So I think having that experience makes it just immediately more meaningful.
I couldn't have been more excited for night 3, and as I got there, the excitement immediately started building up for what would eventually become my favorite musical night of the weekend.
Day 3 of the Hollywood Bowl. Walking up to the seats now. Everybody is loading in. This promenade has got to be one of the most amazing places to see these guys play. And when you stop in the middle and you stare out there, it's a next level experience. Watching this thing head on was just unlike any other concert experience I've ever had. And I'm absolutely juiced to see night 3 unfold. They keep telling me you never miss a Sunday show. So here we are. Let's see how they do. So we got to our seats, and what's the phrase where they give us their tickets stubbed down?
Oh yeah.
Is that what it is? Or do we get stubbed down, I think?
Getting stubbed down is such a beautiful tradition and gesture within the Phish fanhood. Effectively, what it means is if you have seats up here, getting stubbed down means people gave you their seats down here. Brian and Audrey from earlier in the weekend came up and found Melissa while I was in another conversation and said, hey, we splurged. We got ourselves some seats down here. We want you to have ours, which were significantly better than the ones that Melissa and I had. And I didn't know that this was like a thing. I knew people were like, hey, you know, we'd love to get you a ticket. But I didn't know people were just like, hey, have these better tickets than the one you have. And it really changed the dynamic of the entire show. It was so cool. And Brian and Audrey, if you happen to be watching this, thank you guys so much. I never got a chance to reconnect with you after the show ended, but understand it really did make it such a wonderful evening. And genuinely, this was probably my favorite night of the entire set. And I got maybe not the one song I wanted. I didn't get Lengthwise, but I got the one song I'd been dying to hear other than Lengthwise. And that felt really cool. There was never a point in my life where I thought seeing two grown men jump on tiny trampolines whilst playing music was going to make my brain go crazy. But here we are, and that's exactly what happened. Night 3 was certainly my favorite musical night, but it felt like I blinked, and just like that, it was all over. The shows were done, and I stood there looking around, watching a mass exodus of people for the final time of the weekend, everybody leaving with smiles on their faces. I was so full of good energy and excitement and happiness that I wanted to talk to one more person before I left. And the person I spoke with was named Ryan. I'd sat next to Ryan the previous 2 days at the Hollywood Bowl before getting stubbed down by Brian and Audrey. And Ryan was actually a follower of the channel. He'd seen my videos. His name is Going Optimal. And he was such a kind person to sit next to. Between him and Melissa, 80 plus shows between the two of them. Anytime a song came on that I didn't know, I got told what it was. He didn't talk my ear off the whole time, but he offered good context when I asked for it, and he was just a great conversationalist. And I felt in my conversation and rapport building with him throughout the weekend that he really was, in my brain, what the quintessential fan was, what the link was that was kind of missing from what Bittersweet had shown. I felt like Ryan really 100% was the antithesis of those gentlemen. And so I asked him on the final night if he would be willing to talk to me, and he was. And by the way, he is also the gentleman that took the camera and recorded me getting down on a knee and asking Melissa to marry me. So it was really one of the coolest things ever, and just his positivity, his support, his kindness, I really felt embodied what the thing about Phish was, at least from a fan's perspective. And so this was me talking to him at the end of that third evening.
This is the Exodus, the last day of Hollywood Bowl just finished. I am with my homie Ryan, Going Optimal, correct?
Going Optimal. Our friends on your channel, right? Is that?
Yeah, so basically, we got to hang out most of the weekend throughout our time at the Hollywood Bowl. Night 1, 2, and 3, I had a Sherpa between the wonderful Mel and Mr. Ryan here. Now, I kind of felt like Ryan throughout my time with him, Mel, the weekend, Phish. I felt like you were the quintessential fan.
Thank you.
Absolutely, dude. You shared really beautiful stories about your family. You literally brought people here who are down in the crowd now. Actually, there they are. Go ahead.
I love to bring people to shows. You know, people they might not go to another one, but they come. It's an experience we have together.
And
all
this
we can do is create experience. Nothing else can be taken from you.
And this was your 50th, right?
50th show. Yeah. And, what? Can I dispel the flex myth? Obviously,
please do.
50 is no flex. Like some people don't count their shows and think people are flexing, but like mostly it comes up when other people are. I love collecting and I love statistics. It's like baseball. It's like Phish is musical sports
for sure,
and we have a team, a fan base that travels well. You know?
And your picks are the songs.
Right.
It's amazing to me. And you actually shared a really beautiful story about taking your daughter and your dad to the Sphere.
Yeah.
Like just sharing that with people is, I think, really what hit me so hard.
My 85, he was 84 at the time. My 84-year-old father and my daughter attended night 1 at the Sphere with me, like dead center, perfect. And I got footage of my dad that I'll treasure forever.
I literally saw that footage and the amaze on his face in 80 what? How 84. Old? 84 at the time.
And 4-hour Phish show, and he was just the whole time just like
mesmerized like a child. I have to ask, like I said, what to you does Phish mean as far as the community, as far as the music, as far as just you as a person? Try to quantify it in words.
Wow, that was not the question I was expecting from you.
Try to quantify it.
It is connectivity with everything.
Okay.
I feel a connection here with people. We're watching 4 people so talented, like tap into something that's really special, and it's just a bonding with everything.
I would totally agree.
And it's like, if to count my shows, I had to think about which ones I've gone to, because I didn't always do that. And then what I realized is the way I was figuring out the shows I was going to was figuring out who I went with, who I experienced it.
You documented it in your brain by the company.
Right, and I realized I'm not a huge traveler. I saw them first in '95, and I see them when they're in my territory, but I have a family in LA, so I came to LA and bought some on the end. And
dude,
it's when I think of that list, it's a core sample of my adult friendships and my adult love.
I can totally see that.
And that's what makes this special, and that's the number that I love ticking up. The number of
connections
new
with people
I've experienced this with, and it's also the number I don't count.
Dude,
it doesn't generate statistics.
It's not a quantifiable measure, and I think
they're people.
What is so interesting is your answer to what, how to quantify, like the Phish community, music, whatever, was people and connectivity.
Connectivity and people.
That is about, I think, the best way to sum it up. I've spent a weekend getting my face melted, having my heart swoon over that. Yeah, seriously, right? Like, she did it. And then I got to spend my time with all these people that I had no idea about, people that I didn't know, like people that I'm meeting for the first time. Like, some people didn't know what I was doing, some people did, but that everybody was so connected and welcoming and warming and just happy to see people, like, getting their songs. Like, when Yem came on, I freaked out. That was, like, the one thing I'd wanted.
And, like, you getting moved up. It was so great. I still felt connected to you.
Dude, I literally...
I was like, I was going to plan for this. Like, because I was trying to bring family, and I couldn't get, obviously, it's kind of GA, right?
Right.
But I didn't have, and it was like, I wanted to, like, upgrade you guys so that I could have my family next to me, and then somebody else did that work.
It was amazing.
And other people got to experience your joy besides me. I was feeling like, I got so lucky to be Walter's seatmate on show one.
Well, and truly, I don't think I could have had a better seatmate. I don't think I could have just, again, found a better person to help me kind of bridge the connectivity of people and the music. So, dude, again, big thank you. I appreciate everything, all of it. Thank you for hanging out. The quintessential fan of Phish, as far as my opinion is concerned, going optimal. Ryan, thanks for hanging out, man. And again, it was a real pleasure. 100
first life boy in 110 shows.
She got her first life boy in 110 shows.
Yeah, it was my second joy. It landed at my first and then my 110.
Really? I want everybody to put W's in the comments. She got her... What's up? Guys, you have the best one. I love yous all.
Speaking with Ryan was one of the best ways I felt like I could tell people what the thing about Phish was. But I also felt like that video kind of unfolded itself naturally, where you see our friend walk up and say she got her first life boy in 100+ shows.
First life boy in 110 shows.
She got her first life boy in 110 shows.
Yeah, it was my second joy. It landed at my first and then my 110.
Really?
A good chunk of fans have seen more Phish concerts than most people will see concerts in general in their lifetime. And that's so cool to me. And I think that the reason it becomes so fervent is because these memories of going to these concerts are almost itemizations or notes or documentations or tokens or whatever you want to call this of human connections and positive interactions that they've had in their life. And when they revisit the music the way I have revisited my 3 nights just listening over and over, you experience these memories all over again. And there is this element of nostalgia. When people comment, I think, on how many shows they've been to, while there is an element of hierarchical structure within the community that I think is kind of silly, and that is the myth of the show count that Ryan was referring to, while there is that element, I think most people really are just happy that they have so many wonderful memories with so many wonderful people. And yes, there is bad eggs in every bunch. And yes, there are sides that may not look as ideal as others. But I don't think that these things necessarily ruin the sales pitch behind what makes this particular band a good band, or even what makes this particular band worthy of a cult following. What makes a band worthy are the people that show up to see them play. And as we exited for the evening and caught up with a few people, I think that really hit home.
Hey, James, your dad asked me to, give you a shout out, so this is me doing that. Yeah, shout out. We're all shouting you out, homie. Love you, Maine. Miss Elizabeth, she got her song this weekend. We were talking about it on Friday.
You got your song.
Hey, we all got a bit of it. Yeah, Harry Hood. Yeah, I got that gal in the middle of it too, which is pretty awesome.
Right after we saw you, I watched
I did not think that was going to happen as soon as it was. I'd had the ring when we talked, but I didn't think they were going to play Hood. Well, I was like, if they do, that's what I'll do.
You were the big before.
You're the best.
Because I had my first life boy.
Yep, you did.
And you sang Enjoy at 110 shows.
Hey, be the best. Adam, great to meet you. You have a good time? The best time. The best time.
It was awesome getting to catch up with Elizabeth and Jason as we were leaving, and I got to meet Elizabeth's dad, the one that took her to Phish for the very first time. I don't remember his name, so sir, if you're watching this, I'm very sorry. Do forgive me. It was a lot of people that weekend, but I was really moved in talking to him because I was asking him, like, what got you going to travel and see Phish with your daughter? And his response was, I didn't really have a chance to spend a lot of time with her when she was younger, so I'm trying to make up for that now, I guess. And the way he gave such an earnest answer, I felt really, again, further highlighted what it is about Phish, like the thing about Phish, right? And as I looked at my own life and tried to answer what it was for me, what is the thing about Phish? I wondered about it for other people, but what was it for me? What is the thing about Phish? It's a lot of things, and it's also very few things. To say it's a lot of things is to say that I think that Phish is the sound of friendship, and it's more than just four guys being on stage, being friends, and making cool music. It is the sound of friendship happening. It is the sound of smiles. It's the sound of laughter. It's the sound of understanding. It's the ability to be reinforced in feeling good in one's life or understood in one's sadness. There is a community of people that all understand the spectrum of human emotion and accept that in life there is laughter, there is sadness, there is absurdism, and there is certainty. And Phish is a band that embodies all of these things in their ethos, and that community that follows them around lives and breathes that ethos. This isn't just four virtuosic musicians from Vermont that got together to play. This is not just a fanhood of people that like Phish. It's a lot deeper than that. You could ask 100 different people that like Phish what the thing about Phish is, and each of them are going to give you a different answer. But I think for me, in reflection, it could be boiled down pretty easily. The thing about Phish is that in addition to all of the things that comprise of the band, the music, the lyrics, the words, and the community, at the end of the day, it can be boiled down simply to you can feel good. And I found this lesson in a time of my life where I really needed to feel good. And when I say that Phish has been the soundtrack to the best phase of my life, I mean it. And I think the thing about Phish is that everybody should listen. Everybody should understand what it is to be in a community of people that want you to feel good. There's a lot I wanted to say and a ton I'm sure I forgot to say, but I think this feels pretty good. Guys, I love you. Thank you for being here. Thank you so much for the positivity that you show both to me and to one another. Continue to be the best. And until I see you next, be introspective and consider the birds. And whatever you do, take care of your shoes. Goodbye.